Welcome to Cape Town News. Today is Sunday, the 31st of August, 2025, and in case you missed it, here's a recap of the top stories that made headlines in the Western Cape this past week. In a major step forward for education recovery in the Western Cape, the provincial government has announced that its Grade 4 and 7 teacher training programs under the #Back on Track banner is now fully accredited by the South African Council of Educators. On Saturday, Education MEC David Mainier visited Rosmead Central Primary School in Claremont to observe the program in action and hear feedback directly from participating teachers. Currently, over 1,355 teachers are enrolled in the training initiative, which pulls educators out of the classroom every 10 days for in-depth sessions focused on the next fortnight of curriculum content. With the South African Council of Educators accreditation now confirmed, teachers completing the program earn 40 continuing professional development points, an important milestone, as educators are required to accumulate 150 points every 3 years. These sessions are critical to the province's post-pandemic learning recovery strategy, which has targeted more than 15,000 Grade 4 and 7 learners from 223 schools. According to independent research by Stellenbosch University, students who consistently attended #Back on Track classes recovered as much as 205 days of lost schooling, the equivalent of catching up an entire academic year. Mainier praised the dedication of both tutors and teachers and urged more schools to embrace the program, calling it a proven success story for improving outcomes. Sea Point's scenic promenade was the site of a grim discovery this weekend after a man in his 40s was found fatally shot on the grass near Beach Road and Norfolk Road early Sunday morning. SAPs spokesperson Captain F.C. Van Wyk confirmed that officers were dispatched to the scene around 7 a.m. after multiple reports from joggers and passers-by. The body was found with a single gunshot wound, though the exact cause of death remains under investigation. While preliminary witness reports suggest the man may have taken his own life, police are treating the incident as suspicious until all evidence has been gathered. Van Wyk urged the public to come forward with any information that may assist detectives in piecing together the victim's final moments. Crime Stop can be contacted at 08600101111, or tips can be submitted anonymously via the MySAPs mobile application. The incident has sparked renewed concerns about safety along Sea Point's promenade, one of Cape Town's most visited open spaces. Police have increased foot patrols and visible presence along the route, but residents say more consistent oversight is needed. Authorities continue to review surveillance footage from surrounding buildings and businesses. The man's identity has not yet been made public pending notification of next of kin. The Western Cape government has launched a multi-government task team to address the ongoing illegal land occupation at Knoflokskraal near Grabouw and Botrivier, where an estimated 4,000 structures have been erected on land owned by the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. Premier Alan Winde and National Minister Dean Macpherson hosted a joint meeting in Cape Town with all spheres of government and members of the Knoflokskraal community. The land, originally earmarked for forestry, has seen occupations grow since 2020. A social facilitation process will begin in September to better understand the unique circumstances of each occupant. Security measures are being ramped up to prevent further incursions. Winde emphasized that the occupation hampers long-term housing development and urged respect for the rule of law. Community members attending the meeting cited economic desperation and ancestral ties to the land. However, there is currently no formal claim on the property. Both Winde and Macpherson thanked attendees for engaging constructively and committed to a solution that balances legal, social, and housing priorities. The task team will include representatives from the Western Cape government, national departments, local municipalities, and the community itself. Officials hope that a structured approach can lead to dignified alternatives and prevent future land grabs in other regions of the province. The Western Cape High Court has awarded nearly 6.4 million rand in damages to a commuter who sustained severe brain injuries after a brutal attack aboard a Prasa train in 2016. The victim, a 19-year-old man identified only as LM, was traveling between Philippe and Lentegear stations when he was assaulted by unknown assailants. The injuries were so severe that LM is now unable to work or manage his own affairs. An advocate from the Cape Bar brought a civil suit against Prasa on his behalf, which resulted in the agency being held 80% liable for his damages. Medical experts testified that LM suffered head fractures, a cervical spine injury, and traumatic brain damage that caused behavioral and cognitive impairments. The court stopped short of awarding funds for full-time care, but did grant provisions for a domestic worker and necessary therapies. The ruling included 1.6 million rand for general damages, with the remainder allocated to future medical costs and lost earnings. Experts also recommended that LM receive assistance from Cape Mental Health and Community Support to help him maintain independence without social isolation. Prasa has not yet commented on the ruling. The Western Cape government has issued a stern condemnation of the deadly taxi violence that flared up this week, claiming multiple lives across Philippe East, Khayelitsha and Makassar. Provincial Mobility Minister Isaac Sileku and Community Safety Minister Anro Marais labelled the attacks as acts of terror that target innocent commuters and destabilise communities. On Monday and Tuesday, several people were killed in shootings linked to the ongoing conflict between rival associations, Cape Amalgamated Taxi Association and Cape Organisation for the Democratic Taxi Association. Minister Marais called on residents to assist SAPs with information, stressing the importance of community cooperation in halting the violence. Minister Sileku warned that individuals undermining peace efforts will face the full force of the law and confirmed that new regulatory interventions are being explored to restore order. City of Cape Town Urban Mobility MACO member Rob Quintus also condemned the incidents in the Helderberg region, including Somerset West and Lwandle, where intimidation and armed attacks forced early school closures. False Bay Primary and Firgrove Primary dismissed learners amid safety concerns. All stakeholders are now calling for a recommitment to peace by all taxi industry role players. The Western Cape remains resolute in its aim to safeguard lives, commuters, and transport workers, and authorities say they will intensify operations across hotspot areas this week. Cape Town endured a wave of bloodshed over the weekend, with 5 people killed and 5 more injured in a string of shootings that swept across Eerste Rivier, Ravensmead and Kryfontein. The deadliest occurred early Sunday morning in Daventry Street, Eerste Rivier, where 3 armed suspects stormed into a yard and opened fire, killing 3 men aged between 18 and 39. Hours earlier, a 15-year-old was gunned down in Canterbury Street, Eureka Estate, with 3 others, including 2 teens, seriously injured. In Wallerstein, Kryfontein, a 19-year-old lost his life and 2 others were wounded in another shooting. The Serious and Violent Crimes Unit has taken over the investigations, but no arrests have been made. The motive remains unknown in all 3 cases. SAPs is appealing to the public for any information that may help bring those responsible to justice. Authorities are also working with community leaders to address the surge in gang-linked violence that has plagued these areas. The recent killings come amid rising concern over public safety, with Cape Townians once again calling for increased police visibility, protection, and proactive community policing to prevent further bloodshed. The Western Cape is reeling from a wave of deadly violence after SAPs confirmed hundreds of murders in just 7 weeks between 1st July and 23rd August 2025. The announcement was made during a high-level media briefing led by Acting Minister of Police Professor Firoz Kachalia and National Commissioner General Fanny Masemola, where urgent intervention plans were discussed. Kachalia said he would return to Cape Town for consultations with religious leaders and civil society groups to determine immediate steps forward. Where you have unruly gangs shooting people in the streets, it's not acceptable. They must stop, he declared. SAPs confirmed a renewed crackdown, with over 200 police officers deployed from other provinces to the Cape Town metro. General Masemola admitted gang-related violence often spikes after leaders are released from prison. This always creates a problem when there is a vacuum of leadership, he said. In a promising development, police now have leads on the origin of the firearms being used, rejecting the notion that they were mostly stolen weapons. We are dealing with the source, Masemola added. Meanwhile, discussions are underway to review South Africa's constitutional policing framework, with specific attention on devolving certain policing powers to provinces. We are looking at new models that will work for regions under pressure, Kachalia concluded. A sewage crisis is looming in Mitchell's Plain after a critical pump station in Khayelitsha was destroyed over the weekend, with city officials pointing to angry Vosho informal settlement residents as the culprits. The city of Cape Town confirmed that the station, located near a substation previously targeted for illegal connections, was completely stripped, causing raw sewage to spill across the site. Community leader Donovan Koopman claimed the destruction was in retaliation after Eskom and law enforcement removed illegal electricity connections. Protesters blocked Swartklip Road with burning tires on Friday, demanding reconnection. Eskom reportedly switched off power to prevent reconnection, and shortly after, the pump station was trashed. Koopman warned that unless power is restored, the community won't allow repairs. The city is offering a 100,000 Rand reward for any information that leads to arrests. Cape Town Mayor Jordan Hill-Lewis condemned the sabotage, warning that communities like Mitchell's Plain, downstream from the station, will now suffer the consequences through sewage overflows. The South African Police Service and Eskom have yet to release statements. Ground-up reporters confirmed the site was in a state of total disrepair on Sunday, with sewage flooding surrounding areas. The city says repairs are impossible without restoring safe access. Medical history has been made at Tygerberg Hospital, where a groundbreaking robotic kidney donor surgery was performed for the very first time in South Africa. Urologist Dr. Danilo Du Plessis, a senior lecturer at Stellenbosch University, completed the donor nephrectomy using the state-of-the-art Da Vinci 11 robotic platform. The surgery saw a 45-year-old mother donate a kidney to her 24-year-old daughter, with precision so advanced that the organ began functioning immediately. The donor was discharged the next day, marking a new standard in post-op recovery. Unlike previous robotic surgeries in South Africa, which mainly removed diseased kidneys, this procedure preserved delicate organ structures essential for transplantation. According to Dr. Matodzi Mukosi, CEO of Tygerberg Hospital, the milestone reflects our commitment to innovation and excellence. The achievement was also hailed by transplant pioneer Professor Elmi Müller, who noted the global shift toward robotic methods that now rival traditional laparoscopic approaches. Since 2022, Stellenbosch and Tygerberg have invested in comprehensive robotic surgery training. Head of Urology, Professor Andre van der Merwe, says these marks another leap forward in surgical innovation and expects more patients to benefit as robotic surgery scales up locally. Ladles of Love has hit another incredible milestone, welcoming over 1,000 new children into its Nourish Our Children program across the Western Cape and beyond. The initiative, led by Yolanda Jones, now reaches more than 10,000 preschoolers with 2 healthy meals a day. This is more than food, says Jones. Its education advanced through nutrition. With 20 new centers onboarded in just 1 month, this expansion brings hope to underserved communities in both urban and rural areas. Each meal delivered is a step toward dignity, safety, and a better start to life. The non-profit is calling for more support as thousands of children still wait to be reached. Sila Zikalala, Deputy Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, has launched Operation Bring Back in Cape Town to reclaim hijacked state-owned properties. On Friday, he visited a property at 24 Beaufort Street in Goodwood, which had been left in a will to the South African Police Service for anti-drug efforts, but is now illegally occupied by around 12 people. This property is one of more than 40 across the Western Cape that the department believes have been hijacked or unlawfully occupied. The initiative forms part of a nationwide campaign to return stolen government land and buildings to rightful use. Zikalala also highlighted another site in Khayelitsha and confirmed that the department will urgently approach the Western Cape High Court to seek eviction orders. However, advocacy groups Reclaim the City and Ndifuna Ukwazi argue the department failed to provide meaningful alternatives and let buildings decay for years. They say the urgency is manufactured to clear space for commercial tenders rather than to protect vulnerable communities. Ndifuna's attorney, Ruth Stein, called the court application an abuse of process, citing safety concerns as a cover for profit motives. The case will be heard next Tuesday, and tensions are rising between the state's property recovery drive and activists defending long-time occupants. For now, Operation Bring Back is set to intensify, raising the stakes in the fight over housing, justice, and accountability. The raid on comedian Anton Taylor's Cape Town home by the Hawks has sparked outrage, with Police Portfolio Committee Chair Ian Cameron accusing suspended Police Minister Senzo Mchunu of political overreach. The raid stemmed from a satirical video Taylor posted in March, where he mocked corruption and claimed in jest that he financed Mchunu's lifestyle. While Taylor was abroad in June, Hawks officers raided his flat, leaving him stunned when told the case involved crimes against the state. After weeks of silence, prosecutors dismissed the case 10 days ago. The Hawks defended their actions, with Brigadier Thandi Mabambo confirming it was opened under the Cybercrimes Act. Yet Cameron condemned the incident on social media, likening it to North Korea-style tactics and calling it an abuse of state machinery to silence free expression. Taylor, now back home, says the ordeal has reinforced his belief that satire must remain protected. He insists the Hawks allowed themselves to be weaponized by political figures, while Mchunu, suspended by President Cyril Ramaphosa, faces his own parliamentary inquiry. The incident raises serious questions about state power, accountability, and the independence of crime-fighting bodies meant to serve justice without fear or favor. Tomorrow, the Cape will wake to clear skies and a crisp start. In Cape Town, early morning temperatures will hover around 13 degrees, climbing steadily to a comfortable high of 22 by the afternoon. Paarl and Stellenbosch will run slightly warmer, peaking closer to 23 degrees with sunshine holding firm throughout the day. Light southeasterly winds at around 20 kilometers an hour will keep conditions fresh, while the ocean will remain calm with swells near 2 meters at a 10-second period. Tide times for Cape Town begin with a low tide just before 3 in the morning, shifting to high tide around 8 o'clock. Another low follows just before 3 in the afternoon, and the second high tide arrives shortly after 8 in the evening. Sunrise will be at 7:05, with sunset at 6:28. The UV index will be moderate, so sun protection is still advised during the warmest hours. Overall, it's a fine and sunny start to September, the kind of day Cape Townians can welcome spring with open arms. With that, we wrap up this week's recap, and now you know what's happening in the mother city. Thank you for watching Cape Town News. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a story. We appreciate your support. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget, the next bulletin drops tomorrow at 12 noon on YouTube. Meanwhile, stay safe, informed, and connected.